Welcome to Talking with Kevin and Son, where truth meets real. We talk life, love, and purpose.
Welcome to Talking with Kevin and Son, the podcast where real people, real experiences, real conversations meet purpose. I'm your host, Kevin McLemore, and today we're going to be talking about buying houses or homes. We are going to talk about building something that can outlive a moment, outlast a setback, and outgrow one generation. My featured guest today, he is a professional race car driver, but he's always driving within the legal speed limit. He is one of the most positive, most passionate people that I've come to know. He's focused, he's humble, and simply he's a good human being. His name is Thomas Reber, but many know him as One Take Tommy. Now, let
Yes,
me
sir.
tell you, Tommy brings 37 years of experience in the mortgage and financial service business. He has helped over thousands of people or individual families move towards homeownership, served 2 terms as president of the Mortgage Bankers Association in Jacksonville, Florida, and has invested his leadership in fighting food insecurities and homelessness through the Foodies Care Foundation. Yet, when you listen to him closely, his real resume is much more steeper than what I've just shared with you. When I talk about 37 years of marriage to his lovely wife, his gem, his diamond in the rough, Miss Lisa, he has 3 grown sons, Max, Brent, and Cole. 2 grandchildren, Jack and Theo. I have a Theo. And he has one philosophy that holds it all together: relationship first, service, and making a difference. Today's conversation we call Everything You Need to Know About Building Legacy 5.0 style, Tommy style. So we're going to go beyond the slogan and we're going to ask about legacy and what it means. We're going to talk about responsible ownership and how it could be a pillar beneath the family, and how first-time buyers can secure a mortgage without surrendering common sense at the closing table. So I'm going to ask you to lean in close, pick up a pen, take notes, and get ready to meet my friend, One Take Tommy. Tommy Reber, welcome to Talking with WIT, Kevin and Son. How you doing, boss?
Man, I'm doing so good. I always have this mentality. I'm glad to be here. I am glad to be here. I'm glad to be a part of the show. Open up my toolbox and share my 37 plus years of experience, knowledge, and background to you and your listeners, and bring, let's just say, bring the peace and joy for opportunity.
All right. Well, I am happy to have you. I mean, you are one of those, if I were to list 10 people that I would like to create shows around, you would be within the top 3 of those
Wow.
people. Um, so for listeners, and I want to turn it over before we get into the start peeling back the layers of this conversation about building legacy. I want my guest, our guest, to find out who the human being is. I want you to give a little background about your story and how
Yep.
you've come to be close to family and have these values, and how positivity has been the bridge between everything that you do and bringing people together beyond your professional experience.
Well, I come from, beginnings like all of us. We all have our story on how we got here. But how I started, I was a college athlete playing baseball. Um, Thought I was all that in a bag of chips. Turned out that I was really, really, really good at being average. And once you kind of hit that fulcrum of where your talent can take you, then it becomes, what does it do for you? I met my wife back in 1989, Lisa, and I was playing on 2 softball teams, a baseball team, and she and I got married, and we decided to jump in with both feet and say, okay, we're young, and we're going to get after it. And sure enough, here we are, 37 plus years later, 3 grown kids, 2 grandkids, and another one on the way. That's the beginning. But I'll tell you this, I love my wife more today than the day I met her. I'm able to give so much more because of the partnership I've had in life, because of Lisa and what she's done for me, enable me to fly and soar with the eagles. And I'm going to tell you, that's a journey in itself, and it's a whole nother podcast. But more importantly, there's a lot of foundational pieces that came with that brought high tide to our family and our boats as we go forward. And you mentioned legacy. We're going to touch on that. But I got into mortgage business by mistake. Like most people get in business, you get in there by mistake. It just happens to fall out of the sky. And my first job was a computer operator working midnight to 8 in the morning back in 1989 at Stockton, Watley, and Davin Bank Boston Mortgage Corporation. And I worked in a computer, I printed paper, printed checks, ran jobs. Because back then, you would submit the jobs during the day, you'd run them at night and deliver them all like in a metal cart. You'd drop off boxes of paper and checks and all that stuff. And I got to learn the mortgage company inside and out back in 1989, playing on the corporate softball team, started winning. Congratulations. I went from 175 pounds of fury to 155 pounds because I'm only sleeping 2 hours a day. And I'm married and I got responsibilities, but I'm built to live during the day, not live at night. So, but I learned a lot, but you can't burn the candle at both ends because guess what? Your body will start falling apart, which mine was. And I'm like, hey guys, I got to quit. And they said, nope, Tommy, you can't quit the team. We're winning. You play shortstop. You're amazing. We're going to make you a loan officer. I'm like, I'm 21 years old. I'm like, what? And they're like, have you ever know what a loan officer is? I said, nope, I don't. So anyway, I said, can I work during the days? They said, yes, I'm your guy. If I can work during the day, I'm down. And that's how I got to become a loan officer and went back to where I grew up on the west side of Jacksonville, started making a couple sales calls to some real estate offices and one to another. Next thing you know, I've been doing it 37 years later. I'm still doing it today. And that's how I got into mortgage business. But I'll say this, what has come from this, Kevin, is the process of getting to know people through that. What's your name? What's your sign? Where are you from? Brings the meaningful conversation of what's next. And that turned into income, asset, credit, brings collateral, which is the house, or reverse order. And so what I've learned how to do is interview people for a need and the purpose. What's your name? What's your sign? Where are you from? Is uncovering the need and the purpose of where you want to go and how you want to get there. And as I like to say, I'm a good time for a long time, not a good time for a short time. I like to say, when I interview you, I like to leave a mark in a good way that I'm in your corner for a long time. My toolbox is your toolbox. And once I learned how to take that art back in the 80s, evolve it into the 90s into the 2000s, through all ups, downs, sideways, twists, and turns, there's one thing that comes back in my mind all the time. Remember growing up, we played a game called Monopoly. We played a game of life. Guess what? They work in concert. You can put both those boards side by side and play those games beside each other, and they are foundation success that I've learned from the 70s growing up to even today. And that's the legacy you pass backwards and saying, okay, the game of Monopoly is you have a banker, you have real estate. Those are all things. Shelter is the number one need we have as humans. Provide shelter, closely second by food. And by taking care of that shelter part and understanding how that shelter part works, now you're turning a crank for potential generational wealth that you can pass down. The sooner you do it, the sooner you make it happen, the more opportunity for you to succeed later on in life. Because real estate, I'm not going to say always appreciates, but for the most part, out of the past 77 years, Kevin, it's won 74 out of 77 times. Only 2 times have we had negative appreciation year to year, with one tie in 77 years. Let that sink in. So if you're not buying real estate, money compounds at night, you earn it during the day. So I have been ate up with it. I've had big teams of loan officers. I've always kept my hand on the fence. But more importantly, by me keeping my hand on the electric fence, enables me to give this to others. And sharing is caring. So there you go. There's a whole bunch of right there, Kevin.
That was a lot to chew on. Matter of fact, it bypassed the one thing that I was going to ask you is that, there's a lot of books out there on first-time buyers, securing a mortgage, and a lot of the information is confusing.
Yep.
You got 37
Yes.
years of experience. What has your 37
Yes.
years of experience taught you that you can share with our audience that you can't get out of a textbook?
Location, location, location. That is a simple answer with 100 layers. It's a simple question. It's a simple answer. Where do you want to be? Is it the right place? Is it the right time? All those things come into play, but the location of that property that you buy will create opportunities going forward. So if you have to be one thing, be thinking of what can I buy that can be sold in 3 to 5 years? Because normally when you buy a house, it's a good time for a short time because, in my opinion, interviewing thousands of people, we change in 5 years, like changing our skin. We turn into different people. About every 5 years, you'll be a different version of yourself, usually for the better. And there's steering currents as you go down that pathway that are going to change you and say, you know what? I don't need this house anymore. It doesn't fit my needs. I'm going to buy my next house. If you play your cards right, Kevin, by house 5, there's a good chance you may be able to pay cash for house 6. Just saying, play the cards
Now,
right. I've bought
let
11 houses in my career, made 8 great decisions, 3 bad, but my 11th house I own free and clear,
all right.
which is behind the
So,
schedule because I made some bad decisions.
okay. Well, something. I want to talk about the process. Let's go ahead and stand in front of the horse and while we watch the cart being assembled. What are those
Yes,
bad
sir.
decisions that you made? Because one of the things with educating people is a lot of times we talk about our successes, but we don't talk about the stumbling blocks, the failures we have, and whatever in
Oh,
great detail. And so, since we're early on in the show, let's talk
yep.
about those bad decisions so we can avoid making those decisions and
Well,
walking someone through the first time process.
bad decision number 1 is, let's just go with the fundamentals. Taking care of your income, asset, credit position. Paramount. Number 1, take care of that. Because if you're not careful, you don't have that good foundational cash flow. That's a problem. That's number 1. You have to do that. Number 2, and you heard me say this: location, location, location. My 3 bad houses I bought a house that had all the bells and whistles in the world, but it backed up to a busy road. Guess what happened when I had to move? It was hard to sell because of road noise. I also bought a house too small. Bought a house too small. I had 1 child, had our second child. If I would have just dug a little deeper and added 1 more bedroom, I could have lasted there 10 years. But instead, I went with a 3-2 instead of a 4-2. Congratulations. The third child came. Guess what? I had to move. And it wasn't the right time. And I had to move because our house was constricted. So we took a little bit of a tumble there to go buy the next one. All that stuff happens. But more importantly, don't buy above your means per se. I'm not saying don't stretch. There's a reason to stretch too, but you need to have a good advisor to help you understand the how and the why of a stretch when you go buy above your means a little bit. That was one of my failures too, is I bought a McMansion when I had no business buying a McMansion because I was chasing the market. And that's where somebody has to, in your circle has to check you and say, okay, here's the understand, the how and the why. We do that a lot. It's just in the qualifying part of it. But what they don't teach you in school is the unintended consequences and blowback of a bad decision. That's what my job is as a mortgage Sherpa, to help you understand. I'll check you. And that's where a cool thing, because I'm in the age of reflection in my life. I can stop and check people because I've got the scars and tattoos of getting here to say what's good, what's bad, and different. I'll tell you my version of it. And that's part of the process of what I like to say. I interview people. And in that interview process, there's the fundamental of it. It's 4 corners: income, asset, credit, brings collateral. That's the 4 corners I touched on earlier. And that's as simple as it is. And that collateral comes last. That's the 4th one. We got to work on income, asset, credit piece before we can bring the collateral to the table. But my bad decisions were based on bad location, chasing the market, buying way too much of a house than I needed, and or slash, it's just a bad move at the time, but the market conditions were wrong. And I thought I was smarter than everybody else because, well, I'm in the market. I thought I should know better, right? Tommy's right sometimes. The market's always right. You just have to ride the wave and follow the current. That gives you the most success.
All right. So I'm going to, because I know you are a very creative person. So
Yes, sir.
I am going to have you sit at the edge of one of the most beautiful beaches there in someplace in Florida.
Mm,
You've got
yeah.
your toes in the sand. You're
Mm,
sitting there. It's not too hot. You got a cool breeze. You have one of your
Yeah.
favorite cocktails. You have a
Yeah.
notepad with you. And on that notepad, you are outlining instructions to your grandchildren on how to go through
Yes.
and how to take care of this legacy. So to Theo and
Yep.
Jack, I want you to map out,
Yep.
and this is for every other child in this in our viewing
Yeah.
area and listening area. We're going to lay out
Yep.
the common sense facts that you need to know. Now, I will say this, and I'm saying this to the disclaimers because I have a diverse audience. We know that
Yep.
there is in the industry, there's some questionable behaviors that happen to people that are different from you and I, or someone that looks just like me. I've been
Yep.
personal
Yep.
victim in Lake Placid, New York, of
Oof.
sending one person up in order to find a house for me, get everything approved. And when I showed up, my down payment increased, the increase of my rate came up, and then it was questionable if I was able to afford the
Yep.
house I was buying. And it happened on
Yep.
multiple occasions. And there's only two lending officers in Lake Placid, New York. So one's guilty of it, and the other one I never approached. But when
Mm.
you're talking to your grandchildren and walk them through the steps.
Yep.
All right, both Jack and Theo. All right, Theo decides to buy um, his house of his dream because he is now engaged.
Yep.
Jack is deciding to buy a condo, or he's contemplating renting. Map out the process of creating mortgages for them and the value
Yep.
of having a mortgage versus renting.
Yes. Okay, that's a great point. So if you're renting, let's just go ahead and knock that one out early. Let's say you've been renting an apartment for 3 years. You are truly paying for shelter. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for shelter with no return on that investment whatsoever. There's no appreciation. There's no tax deduction. There's no nothing. You're paying for shelter just like you pay for a car. You're paying for transportation. When it's done, it's done. So if it's a 1 year lease, a 6 month lease, whatever it may be, it's done. And you're still in the same spot you were a year ago. When the time is right, you've got your income squared away. You've got a little bit of asset position potentially, maybe not. You can buy a house with no money down, and you've taken care of your credit. You've been taking care of your creditors. The business of cash flow analysis is a super simple game. I call it the rule of 50. The rule of 50. So if I'm talking to Theo, and let's say Theo makes, let's say $5,000 a month, the rule of 50 is 2,500 bucks is his maximum mortgage payment on the surface minus his debt. What's left over is what his payment could be. So the rule of 50, again, you can use the carpenter's rule of thumb, which means most of the time you keep your thumb if you're a carpenter. But the rule of 50, 5,000, 2,500 minus a $500 car payment takes me down to 2,000, minus a $200 installment loan takes me down to $1,800. There's your splash of cold water of what you can do with the rule of 50. So I would explain to Theo and Jackson, hey guys, let's look at your earnings. Let's back into what we can qualify for a shelter cost. And we're going to use the rule of 50, which is super easy. It's a little bit more detailed than that, but that's the fundamental rule of 50. And that is super easy that everybody can accept. The rule of 50 is I make 5,000, chop it in half to 2,500 minus my debt. There's my mortgage payment or what I can pay for in rent or mortgage. Either way, you know what your shelter cost is based on your income. Just like that would be the first thing that I would say. And you know what happens, Kevin? Most people
What?
go, oh my gosh, I can't qualify for much at all. Welcome to the big leagues. Now you know what mom and dad or others have been doing their whole life to get to this point and provide a roof over your head. You now understand. That's what I tell Jack and Theo. You now understand what your dad Max is going through to get where they are. Mom and dad have done these things. So it's a great eye-opening experience, especially for first-time home buyers, to realize I call it the glass of cold water because it kind of shakes them up a little bit. Huh, I need to make more money, or I need to be more focused on my debt service. All of a sudden, now things get what I call, Kevin, the real. We're now talking about everybody loves sausage. Nobody wants to see how it's made. Well, now they're finding out how it to turn the crank at their house. And let me tell you something. It's a beautiful moment because once you learn how to do the financial sausage, you now can control the future because you understand the cause and effect And now we have to remind you the unintended consequences of blowback if you don't do it right. We're going to do it right. That's why it's important to get pre-approved information and knowledge from people. To your point, now you've had a couple bad tastes in your mouth, Kevin, in the past at Lake Placid. Boo. I'm going to tell you right now, expect the unexpected at times, but it's not that hard. It is reasonable to be treated fairly and ethically all day, every day. Because guess what? If I was your loan officer or I was your mortgage person, Kevin, I'd want you to be a good time for a long time. I would want to be your financial Sherpa for life. And I'd give you everything I got to make sure you got what was appropriate at that time, all day, every day. Great value, great understanding, great knowledge. And by the way, I can't wait to do it again in 5 to 7 years, because that's what happens. Most people are going to do it again in 5 to 7 years. And that's an honor and a privilege, by the way. That's an honor and privilege.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. You got me sold. I'll be coming to you next time.
Yes, sir. I am excited about that.
All right. This is the big question that people have. I mean, we went through a real estate crisis when a lot of people were upside down in their mortgages, and we went through a crisis where people were losing their homes, and there were big companies swooping in and picking up their debt and whatever, and
investors.
profiting off of that. So, there's a lot of questions that first-time buyers should ask, but they don't know about. They don't understand interest rates, APR, fixed or variable adjustable
Yep.
terms.
That's
They don't
right.
understand clearly monthly payments or mortgage insurance or points, fees, cash at close payments, escrow, rate locks.
Right.
There's a million other things that I can say, low estimate, not sales pitches or whatever. How do
That's
you
right.
explain? I mean, I know you do this, but I know a lot of times people are just happy that you signed the paper, and good luck if you understand or not. Do I need to hire um, a real estate lawyer? Can I do this on my own? What would be the best advice?
I'm going to say this. You need a real estate Sherpa to go with you to help you understand what you're getting into. Number one, most first-time home buyers don't read a lot of contracts. Check. Number two, they don't also understand the terms of what financing contingency, inspection contingency, the verbiage in there, because it's just like in playing poker. If you want to play poker, you got to ante up. If you want to buy a house, you're going to put a binder money down. What happens if with my money that I give for my binder deposit? So let's say you're buying a $300,000 house, they want 1%, which is $3,000. You put that $3,000, and all of a sudden, one day you wake up and you're like, "Hey, your financing contingency is hard. My $3,000 is now gone." In theory, if I don't go through and buy this house, I lose my $3,000. Those are things that your real estate professional working beside you is going to keep you in tune and aware of as you go down this path. Because, as I like to say, when you buy a home, there's a lot more that comes with it. Obviously, your financial commitment, but understanding the contract going forward, your real estate professional can help you. Of course, you can hire a real estate attorney, not necessarily have to, but a good real estate Sherpa. The way to get to the top of the real estate mountain is to have a person beside you that does this every day, not only from the collateral home perspective, but from the contract perspective. Kevin, spot on, because, points, cost, amount, payments, all that stuff is easy to find, but how does it fit with that particular person? What does it mean? How does this working for you? Well, hey, man, we found this house right down the street from mom and dad. Perfect. We want to buy that house. That house is 500,000. Do they have the ability as ways and means to buy that house, which is a whole another really, really good conversation called the bank of mom and dad, but I'll get to that later.
All right. Can a person build legacy and not already have before he builds or he or she builds financial wealth? Um, how can that happen? And what part of their life do they have to sacrifice in order to have that?
Well, it does come with a commitment. If you want to build, remember we talked about Monopoly and Life, those games?
Hmm.
A lot of times the game of life is going along right beside the game of Monopoly. All of a sudden, guess what? You have a baby. You're in an apartment. You go from 1+1 to 1+2. You get a raise. Why? It's the strongest percentage you want to raise psychologically and financially, have a baby. That's gonna snap you into check all the time, every time. That now starts legacy. Now we've got to make some really big decisions. We have to make some commitments, not only to our spouse, but to our child. That is the strongest form of familia bond ever, right? We're going to go play Monopoly. We're going to jump in and buy a house for the right reasons, provide that foundational success and wealth, because it's over 75% chance your success is through the roof compared to others when you buy your first home, whether you're at 22 years old or you're at 62 years old. Yes, I've had first time home buyers at 62. It's crazy, but true. My point is that legacy starts when you really make that commitment to where you're going to go and how to get there. And that starts with your partner or yourself. And once you start playing the game of Monopoly to go along with the game of life, all of a sudden they start working in unison. Money compounds at night, you earn it during the day. And the more things that you can get in play on the compound side, whether you're investing $100 a month or $5,000 a month, buying a home is that piece that you put on a Monopoly board that is going to continue to appreciate, whether you got $1 in it or no money in it, or even own it free and clear. It's going to appreciate at the appreciation rate of that year or that month. If we can bolt on cash flow over there, you're literally paying yourself. If your rate's 4% or 8%, you're paying yourself for that shelter. That money is turning a crank. It's serving shelter, it's compounding, it's working for you. I know on the surface, like, oh my gosh, I got a mortgage. Boo. It's working for you. You're not giving it to Kevin, the landlord. You're giving it to, to the mortgage company for ownership of that house. And as long as you keep making that payment, and if we continue what we do, your appreciation can be 0. It could be 2%, it could be 5%, it could be 12%. So if you bought a house for $500,000 in about 6 years or less, it's going to be 550 or more, just through natural appreciation. Let that sink in. That's what I'm saying. If you can get that foot on the ground and buy your first home, you're getting foundational success, which then becomes legacy. Because today, I don't own 15 houses. I own my primary residence. Now, I've had other houses. I've owned rental properties and stuff like that, but I'm in further down the path. But Jack and Theo buy their first house and establish a root. That root will continue to grow. And that's legacy. Because now as they go, and as long as they can keep a solid frame of mind, their generational wealth has begun. And that's what we want to do with first-time home buyers, is get that first one down in the ground, build on that, whether they sell it, take the powder of that house through appreciation and go do the next one. That's why I say by house 5, there's a good chance you may be able to write a check for it. Think about that, because things go in cycles. And anyway, that's what I say.
Well, I still want to go with the thing we're talking to Jack and Theo, your grandkids.
Yes, sir.
That means, as my listeners, we're talking to your Nancy's, your Monica's, your Kevin's, your Cole's, your Brent, Max, and so forth. We're talking to your children too.
Yeah.
And we know in the conversations amongst children, a lot of times they don't agree. So both Jack and Theo are both buying a home. Theo decides that he's trying to talk Jack into taking out a fixed mortgage versus an adjustable mortgage.
That's right.
Theo is probably a little bit more in tune, and he takes the advice of his grandfather. Jack is flying by the seat of his pants because someone told him it's better than that. Explain to the difference between a variable adjustable terms versus a fixed interest rate to your grandsons, and how would you advise them and which way they're going?
So an adjustable rate mortgage, Kevin, I'm not going to say it's poison. I'm going to say this: you have to have a design to get out of it. So you have a 1-year arm.
I'm going to say it's poison. That's the reason why so many people got upside down. So I'll say it for you, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, you're right. And my first mistake was doing a 5-year arm. I did a 5-year arm. I got a little better rate, and I had a plan and a design to do A, B, and C. This is that house that I told you I bought that was a little above my pay grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I went deep. I took the poison, and it set me back two houses. That's why it took me 11 to finally say, hey, free and clear. Actually, it was 10, but free and clear. If I was talking to Jack and Theo, I'd say, hey, look, an adjustable rate mortgage is a good time for a very short time. Things happen and things change. You need to be in a predictable, consistent situation. And I'm being serious here in the sense that, hey, if I can use the rule of 50 and I can get myself in a predictable, consistent situation where my shelter cost is absorbable and I can pay it comfortably, now I can make a few mistakes and not cripple myself because I can handle the waves of economic downturn, like you mentioned, 2006 and 7, when the market was. Now, are we going to have a financial crisis like that again? Who knows? Really don't know. But I do know this. This is foundational. And guess what? Even as much as we stunk it up in 2006 and 7, we bounced. That was year number 2 out of 77. That was a negative appreciation. And it wasn't really that bad in the big picture of things. But Jack and Theo, I will tell them adjustable rate mortgages, unless you have a defined plan, hard no, just like Kevin said, it's a hard no. Easy money, short-term gain with a long-term loss opportunity all day long. You got to be careful. This is a foundational investment. If you got to do it right, be focused and smart. So I would volunteer Jack to focus and not take the 30 or to take the adjustable rate mortgage and focus on a 30-year fixed. And as you go further, we may talk about a 15-year fixed, depending on your cash flow analysis. Maybe you want to speed that up. And there's a couple little add-ons that I'll add to you, Kevin, is you can prepay mortgages, no penalty. And for conventional loans, what's a little known fact is you can recast them. Let's say you all of a sudden get a $50,000 windfall. Now, I'll debate you on this too, because remember, we talked about money compounds at night, you earn it during the day. If you've got $50,000 burning a hole in your pocket, you got a couple options. A, give it to a managed account and get it working for you. We'll touch on that. Or you can put it towards your mortgage and recast and change your payment without refinancing. Let that sink in. It's a little known fact out there, but you can recast most mortgages and take it from a $300,000 mortgage, pay $100,000, take it down to $200,000, and for a small fee of, let's say, $250, you can recalibrate your payment without changing the term and changing the rate, and change your payment and save yourself $1,000 a month just by paying your payment down through a principal curtailment, which you can do. That's a whole nother segment, but that's a weapon of opportunity inside the mortgage most people don't talk about.
All right. One take, Tommy. I'm going to tell you, people, I hope you're taking notes. I asked you to pull up your chair. I asked you to buckle up. Okay. You didn't know you were getting all this. I mean, wait till you hear Tommy talk about some other stuff. Talk about,
Yes, sir.
some of the businesses that he's in, some of his dreams, but we're going to stay true to this. But right now, Tommy, there's probably a lot of people sitting with pen and paper saying that I would like to contact you directly. Do I find you on Facebook, LinkedIn? Do you have a website? How do we get in touch with you, Tom?
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to give you two ways. Number one, I'm not hard to find. You can Google me. My name's Tom Reber. My cell phone number is 904-318-1058. I've been doing mortgages for 37 years. I'm with Planet Home Lending. You can go to www.planethomelending.com/Tom-Reber. Again, planethomelending.com/Tom-Reber. Easy, but I'm not hard to find. You can look at me on LinkedIn. You'll see my wonderful face, and you can find me. I'm much more than a pretty face. I'm stats, facts, and figures. I like to talk about the money to help you guys get your fundamental collateral opportunity in a home. And it's a simple business. Income, asset, credit brings collateral. What's your name? What's your sign? Where are you from? Simplicity brings meaningful conversation, because that's what enables me to work with you to get you where you need to be mentally on what you're buying. Because that way you can understand the rule of 50. You can understand the cause and effect and unintended consequences and blowback of where you're going. And a lot of times you can do this in a 15-minute conversation right out of the box. But that legacy and generational wealth starts with the conversation, and it starts with you. You can do it.
All right. So I said at the top of the show, we're going to talk about this legacy in 5.0 on how to gain this. So let's test this theory and the framework of
Yeah.
5.0, the value, the vision, the viability, the vehicle,
Mhm.
and transfer. Where do most families begin, and where do most families get stuck in going through this? I'm trying to work out an action plan as to when we were creating great value and vision and financial viability is what are the things that we should consider?
Well, I'm going to say this: families, and I'll let everybody know I'm 58. I'm the bank of mom and dad in my family now. I have to manage up. My parents are now in their 80s, and I've become sort of their financial advisor. I also have to manage down to my 33, 30, and 27. Depending on where you are in your life cycle, just be accepting of information, knowledge, and experience. And now that I'm the bank of mom and dad, I remember looking and going, hey, how did this even work and happen, right? More importantly, generational legacy wealth starts with the fundamentals of making sure that you are putting money away, getting a foundational piece over here, whether it's a checking account, savings account, money market account, 401k, investment account. By the time you get to where I'm at today, you should have an investment account that's a managed account. You should have a 401k that you should put maxed out in, and you should have your shelter. And that shelter, by the time you get here, you're looking at hoping and praying that you could say you own it free and clear. But that legacy turns into, how do I help my kids make good decisions? Because you become the bank of mom and dad. Can you help springboard them into their beginning of their legacy? Because as I like to tell people, you can't put the money in the casket. You can't take it with you, but you can do something with it today. You can do something with it tomorrow, and you can make some action things happen today while you're alive to do something about it. So think about this, bank of mom and dad. There's two things the bank of mom and dad always invest in. Always. Real estate, grandbabies. Let's just let that sink in. Jack and Theo have access to this. They have access to that. You know why? Because it's Jack and Theo. And I'll show you. This is tickled to death about this, but I'll share how real this is, because Kevin is spot on. That is why we do what we do. Little people like that. And guess what? You know what I was looking at this weekend? I live in Jacksonville proper. They live in St. Johns County, about 25 minutes away. My wife tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, we're going to go look at houses. I'm like, what? You know where she wants to be?
Close to the
Right by
grandbabies.
them. That's right. So the bank of mom and dad's all of a sudden got some unique current that I was thinking I'd never leave. Well, guess what? I've all of a sudden getting some vibrations from my wife for 37 years going, I'd like to live down the street from my grandkids. I'm like, wow, okay. My point is, when you look at generational wealth, you as a family matriarch, whether you're 25 years old, 55 years old, or 75 years old, you just have to look at things holistically. But again, real estate and grandbabies, typically our bank of mom and dad's going to jump in every time for the right reasons. And then I'm going to give you a phrase, Kevin. I think you'll appreciate this. And this has no boundaries. Embrace, enrich, and bring the happy. Because families have all kinds of moving parts and stuff, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, holidays, they're all wonderful. You do your best to embrace everybody there, good, bad, or indifferent. You may have some family feuds going on. You do your best to enrich everybody there. And when all else fails, bring the happy. Because guess what? All problems go away when you bring the grandkids. Always does. Everybody puts all the feuds away. And that's why I say embrace, enrich, and bring the happy. And when you bring the happy, everybody's happy. And that's how it works. But that's life. And buying a home is the number one family glue to others. And to when you say legacy, home ownership is the beginning of legacy.
All right. There are a lot of people out there that they don't like having these uncomfortable conversations. And I was always taught education wasn't designed to make you comfortable, it was always designed to make you think.
That's right.
No one wants to talk about the end game, which we're all play the game towards the end. You're building a legacy in order for Jack and Theo not to have to follow the same yellow brick road that you did and
That's
not
right.
have to replace bricks along the way.
Oh, so
There are
well.
families today that mom, pop, grandpa, grandma, time clock has wind down and they've gone on to a better life. And they've left behind instructions on how the legacy is to continue. But a lot of times when your children don't see how the building was built, they sacrifice the front door for the back door because it's easier to run through the house than it is to repair and build a house. So you got Jack and
Yes, sir.
Theo sitting here, and all of a sudden they open up and they get a portfolio, and it has more zeros than they can ever imagine. If they were playing a Monopoly game or whatever, that they're running the table. Well, you've got one.
Yeah.
And I'm going to advise you that devise how this is to be handled and how you continue this legacy. Because we do know there are some big companies right now that grandma and great grandpa is about to end, and they're landmark
Yeah.
companies. They're part of the 1%, and their
Yeah.
great grandkids are going to inherit this wealth, and they are going to party
That's
like
right.
it's 1999. How do you
100%.
keep from dividing siblings over
Yeah.
profit? And how do you continue and set up in a verbiage to where the legacy is continued and not destroyed
Yeah.
within a year or two after your passing?
Well, here's the great news. The world we live in today, it's easier now to do a video and say, hey, you can talk to Jack and Theo in the future. We literally just we're talking about some of my side projects, what we can do with storytelling and the storytelling of legacy to the family. Hi, everybody. My name's Tom Reber. I'm no longer here, but I wanted to give you where I came from. And oh, by the way, at the very end, this is what I'm leaving back for all of you guys. It can't be done. I'm thinking about these things today, Kevin. It's a powerful statement, and you're right. My family is preparing, and the conversation starts like this because I interview people a lot, and with that, it's with that legacy conversation, it's important for people to know where and how to do what you want to do. So I start with a simple statement. Mom, Dad, what's next? What do you want? What's next for you? And because when you lose one, mom or the dad, one or the other, it's a little easier, but the forecasting of fear and failure of the conversation, how difficult it is, it's really not difficult. If somebody sat down with me and whether it's Max, Brent, or Cole, and say, hey, Dad, what's next? I'm going to say exactly what I think is next. They think it's an uncomfortable conversation. I'm going to say it's welcomed. You got to realize the other side is probably welcome that conversation because they think it's just as uncomfortable to go to you and talk about it because nobody wants to talk about the end. But guess what? It's the new beginning. And I want the new beginning to happen on the right terms. And so that negative conversation in most people's minds, they think it's negative and hard. When I interview people, I said, hey, have you talked to mom and dad about this? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, talk to them. And 99.99% of the time, they call me back 2 or 3 days later and go, Tom, that was the best conversation I had with my parents in a long time. I said, guess what? They've been waiting for it. Do it. Do it. And I promise you, remember, they talked about the two things the bank and mom and dad pretty much always invest in: grandkids, real estate.
Right.
All of a sudden, the conversation's easy. And then while you're having that conversation, ask them, what's next? What can I do to make your legacy be what you want it to be? And guess what the bank and mom and dad do? Open up and say, now we're communicating. I've been waiting for this conversation. I'm scared to have it with you. Now, all of a sudden, holidays are different. Communication is different. You become closer. And what I call that, Kevin, is life cycles connecting. All of a sudden, now your familiar unit becomes in tune. And everybody knows. Everybody knows.
All right. So I want to turn the tables and I want to redirect the energy into
Yes, sir.
present. One take, Tommy. I don't want to
Yep.
lose you anytime soon, so I don't want to continue that conversation.
Yep.
But we talked about building legacy. You talked about
Yep.
your first home. Now, in order to purchase your second home, you've got a current mortgage that you are dancing with every single day, but you have some
Yep.
equity built up into your current home. You've been making double payments on a 30
Mhm.
year loan, and you plan on paying it off in 15 years. You
Been
got
digging
equity.
in.
Yep. Now you got an opportunity um, to go from your starter home to the home that you want to raise your family in. You've got three
Yep.
kids. You want a backyard. You like to have a swimming pool, and you've always dreamed of this neighborhood. How do you decide? And what's the conversation you would have with Jack and Theo when
Yep.
all of a sudden you look back and says, you know, you've got equity into your home? What
Yep.
should you do? All right. Do you move out of the house and go into a new home and rent that and become a landlord, or sell it and take that and pay cash for your other house? What advice are you going to do going forward? What's the next steps?
The next step is really pretty simple. If you have a need, we need to go find the solution potentially, whether it is kids, school, location, family, job, all those things come into mix when it's say, hey, we bought this house as a starter home, a little 3 bedroom, 2 bath house with a 1 car garage. We have one. Now we're looking at having two. Job improvements, job location direction, family direction, all those things are coming to play the why you have to move. I would sit there and tell people this real simple. I'm a skinny person. I like to be skinny financially. So I would sell my current home to buy my next home. That would be what I would do. However, there's other people that say, hey, you know what? Like, for example, I was talking to a young couple a couple days ago. They have a rate of 3% on their house with a solid equity position. So their mortgage payment is only $1,800. They can rent that house for $3,000. So all of a sudden, I had to take pause and say, I'm gonna give you the opposite answer. And that's because your current starter home has such a low payment on it and you have such a margin, your payment's 1,800, you can rent it for at least 3,000 because of location, opportunity. That's a performing asset with a compound interest of 12% a month. I want you to let that sink in a little bit. I told them to say you're going to rent it. And they're like, well, I said, you're going to rent it. And here's why. You have too much margin to walk away from this. So your payment's 1,800. You can rent it for 3,000. You have plenty of margin. So think about that. The difference between 1,800 and 3,000 is 1,200 bucks a month. That is a nice return on investment. You use the rule of 50, right? Love the rule of 50. So that 1,800 or that $1,200 is really $600 pure profit, and you're going to have an escrow account of over $600 as well. We're going to build a little minor LLC. We're going to put you in the rental game because you're so good and it's too good to walk away from. That's one of the few times I'd lean in and say you need to rent it. There's a lot of people that want to play Monopoly hard all the time and develop a rental portfolio. By the way, that's really good too. But you have to be aware of what you're getting into, that you become. It's one AC unit from ruining your whole year's worth of return on investment. Think about it that way too. That's the unintended consequences of blowback. But for the most part, I would lean sell, buy. But there's occasions where I'd say you're going to have to rent this. It's just too good to walk away from. And I'd lean in and say that. They still may sell, or you may be on what I call lane 3, which is, hey, I want to buy and rent, and that's good too. You just understand the unintended consequences and blowback of what that means. Monopoly is the game of Monopoly. That's why I say fundamentally, you got Monopoly game over here and you got the game of life. They're working in concert all the way down the pathway. And to each his own, and everybody's different. That's what makes Kevin special, makes Tom special. We don't look the same, but there's a lot of things that are also similar too.
All right. Again, one take, Tommy. You've given a lot of information. We can probably run this show for another 2.5 hours because there's a lot of questions, but I
Yes,
want
sir.
people to reach out and contact you directly and
Yep.
ask those questions directly that applies to them. We're not going to have all the answers, and I don't have all the questions that everyone's going to sit here and listen to this podcast and say, why didn't he say this? Why didn't he ask this? Whatever. Call Tommy. How do we get in touch with you?
It's real simple, and I'll put this, and you'll have all my stuff. But this is me right there. I am. I'm not hard to find. My name's Tom Reber. I like to say that I'm fuel. I'm going to help you find ways, and different octane, different fuel, different things like that. But I'm financial fuel, equity, questions, collateral. All those things are easy. Everybody's different. My cell phone is simple, 904-318-1058. If you're a friend of Kevin's, you're a friend of Tom's. Call me. You're listening here for a reason. I will help you. I serve on the Foodies Care Board. Nothing brings me more joy than helping people get to where they need to be. Nothing brings me more joy than being able to help other nonprofits and other people succeed. I've been doing this 37 years. This business and this industry has been super good to Tom Reber and his family. I love humans. I love great food. And I think we all deserve to have the attention we need to make successful things with regards to legacy in the future. Pays big dividends. And if you can just play the game fundamentally sound, you'll be better than most.
No, I can't end on that. I can't let you go on that because you open a door that I got to walk through.
Yes, sir.
Because it's a sensitive subject to people such as myself. It's a
Yeah.
sensitive subject because I know veterans that are in need.
Love veterans. Yes, sir.
I want to talk about Foodie Cares. And
Oh.
I want you to get information about that before we close. Tell us about your involvement. Tell us about Foodie Cares, and tell us if we can help in any type of way.
Yes, yes, and yes. So Foodies Care, I've been on the board for a year, and we have 9 events each year. And then we have the Legacy of Leaders, which we just had at Jack's Golf and Country Club, where we brought in 11 nonprofits and gave way over $35,000 that we raised over the past year. And we're going to do it again this year. So we turned the crank. But Foodies Care provides the fuel for nonprofits specifically targeting homelessness and food scarcity. There's others that fit in that need too. There's a lot of blurred lines, but we interview these organizations, spend time with them, and do our best to make the great selection of opportunity with different levels through leadership and awards granted to them. And we bring everybody together and we give out. Last year, we did 35,000, or this past week, couple of weeks, we did 35,000 to 11 different nonprofits. We also have locational fundraising that we do as well. But Foodies Care, you can go to foodiescare.org. Again, Foodies, Foodies, care, care.org, and check us out. You'll see my smiling face as well as many others, but you'll see the people who are receiving the money and making the difference in our market and other markets. We do Jackson. We had our first remote one in Nashville this year. When we had a great partner up there that we made with a large builder and said, hey, look, if you want to do something about it, get off your fanny and do something about it. And they said, what? I said, check. Let's go. It's contagious. It's nothing like it. When you become a giver, it's so good. And Foodies Care is a giver. And we as I like to say, when we have our events and we do these, here we go. Foodies Care, right there.
Hold it up a little longer.
That means a lot.
Hold it up just a little longer. There you go. We got it.
Gathering for Good. And one of the photos that I sent Mac, your producer, is me opening up with my apron on. I have the apron on, and it means so much. And we just have a lot of great people coming together, witnessing and recognizing some of the best people are in our local area, North Florida, Jacksonville area. So talented, so good. But guess what? They don't have a voice all the time. One take Tommy does, and I'll do it with pride. Not only spreading the news, information but digging down and challenging people to be a giver. It's okay. Give. It comes back tenfold, I promise you. And guess what you get when you give? You get this guy. I'm the cocktail stirrer to the stars. My job is to motivate you and inspire you to give. It comes back. We get so much more when we get back. And we've been growing like crazy in a good way. But foodiescare.org, come check us out. Our events, we do 9 events a year. It's just so special, Kevin. And thank you for giving us an ample time to talk about that.
No problem. I wanted to make sure I didn't want to overlook it, because at the latter part is, I'm a firm believer in this day and age, marketing, you can't put a star on a product and make people buy whatever. It has to become personal. And we've got a chance to know you. I've got a chance to have you sit on the beach in perfect weather conditions with your favorite fruity drink.
Yeah.
The wind's blowing. You've got shade, and you've got a notepad with you. And the reason why I asked you about the notepad is because right now you are sitting here and having a conversation that is helping many sons and daughters throughout the world. And I want you to take a couple seconds and think about this. If you were to write a note, to have a conversation publicly about how important Lisa has been to your life, when I talk about the value and the input and how she's helped you grow. And then you turn the page and you write to Brent, Cole, and Max, the addition to your life, the outcome of that relationship, and the conversation and the goals, and what you would like them to take away from any conversation that you've had. If there's a quote, a one word, and then to your grandchildren that may not be privy to every single conversation Lisa or Brent, Max, or Cole has had, what would you write and send to them? And this is all going to be put in separate bottles, and it's going to come up to shore one day, whether on the beach. To Lisa, from One Take Tommy. Let's see what you can do with one take.
We're stronger together, Lisa, than we are apart. This journey that I've been on with Lisa Reber has made me a better man, a better father, a better husband, a better person. Thank you. You've made my life much better, and we are stronger together. For our kids, Max, Brent, and Cole, your future is bright. All you have to do is keep it between the lines. We, as a family, honor each other, witness each other, take care of each other. Your future is going to be bright because of the fundamental decisions mom and dad are making today and continuing on. We're going to inspire you to continue that legacy going forward, making qualified decisions, doing better than most, be a giver, be a foundation maker. And then Jack and Theo, you have the world at your fingertips. You just have to stay in formation with the wake that is given by the Reber, let's just call it the Reber Family Foundation. The wake that it puts out is going to take great care of you. Honor it, respect it. Families are everything. Families are everything. And I would much rather take care of my family as well as others to help them with their families, because high tide brings lift to all boats. High tide brings lift to all boats. And that's the key. Or what are you doing to bring high tide to your family and others is what defines you.
That was, if I had to script that out or put that in a song, it would be top 10 on the chart right now. One Take Tommy. I've only asked this of a very few couple of people, and I say this because I discovered that I have a very unique show. Out of the 4 years that I've been doing this, matter of fact, it's 5 as of August 4th, 2026. It's 5 years that I've been doing this podcast.
Wow.
I've had 7 incidents that when I've asked my guest, if you had one ask, and this is like a Latin slap, ASK, and someone can grant you that ask. Now, I've had 7 people that have answered this call, and I've always said, I can care less of how many people follow me, how many people subscribe, and whatever. Those numbers mean nothing to me unless they have a call to action, high call to action. All of my friends are not the people that drive by an accident, they stop to help. You are one of those
Yeah.
people that service is part of your motivation. It is part of your pedigree. If you had one ask, what would that ask be?
I'm going to take pause with that.
Take your time.
It's easy to say some high, hey, I want to cure hunger, I want to have world peace, all those fun things. But my one ask is the ability to share your story with your family and closest friends, because it's not what you do today, it's what you leave behind. And my one ask is I hope that we find a way to leave our legacies in a way that Jack and Theo will go, oh my gosh, Big Daddy, AKA Tom Reber. Wow, he was a cool cat. Man, I'm so glad that he was my grandpa, because that message backwards is amazing. And you've touched on it so many times in this, but I would love to be able to have that. And I'm working on it myself. I'm working on my mobile media podcast. We touched on that before, but I'm also ate up with this story of greatness, whether it's locational greatness. You realize in our world today, the people who developed the state of Florida we no longer have these encyclopedias that are ready. We have AI, we have all this other fun stuff. But what's the story? Let's hear about that story. I want to give familiar story. I want to let my kids know that, I played T-ball just like they're playing T-ball. I bought my first house, whatever it may be, that story. So I will leave you with that, Kevin, is I would love to have the ability to gift all of the people around me the ability to give their legacy and a story to their family.
One take, Tommy. You are amazing. You're a good human being. You're a lover of life.
Thank you.
To our listeners, I know you're starting at Excel right now, but I want you to understand legacy is just not a trending word. It's a living responsibility. It begins with the value of you, practice, the vision that you protect, the numbers you are willing to face, the decisions you are willing to refuse to rush, and the wisdom you choose to pass forward. Like my guest here today, Tommy. Homeownership can become one of the most powerful parts of your legacy, but a deed alone is not the real dream. The real dream is a home for your family to sustain, a mortgage that they can understand, a plan that they can survive the hard seasons, and set a lesson for the next step in your life or for the next generation, and not have that lesson of life be an expensive way of living. Legacy 5.01 is just something I brought up in order to build with purpose. Buy with common sense, protect what you've earned, teach what you've learned, and remember the strongest house is still built on a personal relationship. The strongest foundation is still built with human service. And the structure, and no matter how tall or how wide or how long it is, it's all laid on a foundation of a field of love. Tom, one take. Tommy, I want to thank you for bringing your experience. I want to thank you for bringing your heart. I want to thank you for your common sense and your wisdom. I want to thank you for coming on Talking with Kevin and Son. You remind us that mortgage is more than just paperwork. It's a house more than just walls, and a legacy that is more than appears on the balance sheet. I want to thank all of our listeners. Tell me before I close and thank our listeners, is there anything that you want to say to our listeners before we sign off?
Real simple. If you're not making memories, you're wasting people's time. There's no need for you to do it second class, do it first class. First class means you gave it everything you got. So I'm just going to remind everybody, in love, in life, in your family, go make some memories, because if you're not, you're wasting everybody's time. Go enjoy it. Thank you all, and I'm just glad to be a part of the show, Kevin. Thank you, and cheers.
And we're glad to have you, and you're welcome back anytime. There is a warm seat
Yes, sir.
waiting for your heartbeat. And to all of our listeners, before you chase that address, understand the obligation. Before you sign that mortgage, understand the terms. Before you talk about what you want to leave behind, decide on how you will live, serve, and teach today. My grandfather always said, when you get to a place in life that you can help someone else out, it is your duty to do so. He said, reach one, teach one. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, and Tom, one take Tommy, we fade to black and we're out until next time. Thank you, everybody. All right. All right. Good job, T.
Hey, I gave it all I had, Coach.
No, you gave a
Oh,
lot more.
I've read a quote. I forgot. Let me give you this quote.
Go
I
ahead.
read this and I forgot it for the show, but I'm going to give it to you now. Did you know one candle can light 1,000 more candles and not take away from anybody's light?
All right. I like that.
One candle can light 1,000 other candles and not take away from anybody else's light.
You know, I wish I can get you to come on my motivational Sundays with Kevin and friends where we talk about quotes and let you go ahead and
Oh,
explain that.
I listened to it. I listened to it this past Sunday, walking around my neighborhood, walking the puppies. I was
All right.
listening to it. And look,
You're
some
more
of
than
the,
welcome to come on.
well, I may have to do that. Here's what I'll tell you, Coach. There's so many quotes, and when you peel that onion back, like I said, you're a sweet Vidalia onion. The deeper I get, the sweeter you are. That's a fact, Jack. You. Anyway, yeah, quotes. There's so many interpretations of them. When you get into those in those quotes, I mean, look here. I read a quote every day. It takes chances to make changes. It takes chances to make changes. And I read quotes. I do my best every day to read 10 pages a day.
Mhm.
10 pages. Doesn't seem like a lot, but I mean everything from the Bible, you know, $100 million, how 100 million money model, $100 million money model, all this other fun stuff. I just feed my mind every day because I was a C minus student in school, but I could play some ball. But if I could play ball, I was much better at school. I
Right.
was really good at foursquare. I was really good at kickball, and I really loved other humans. And I love to go to school, and I love kids that get a chance to go to school. And this right here is the first day of school here in Jacksonville, and that's what this is. And this is Jack going to his first day of school right there.
Oh, he's beautiful.
And
Congratulations,
let me
you're
tell you
Big
something,
Jack.
Coach. And look at them right there. This is them going.
Good,
Nothing.
good.
And Kevin, that is as good as it gets to me. Money don't buy that. And that's what
Right.
the meaning of what this is all about. But here's what I'll tell you. I'm going to throw you a curveball, Coach. I would love to be able to take Foodies Care to Philadelphia. I want you to think about that.
That is
Because
your
we did
us.
it in Nashville and we
Let,
rocked
let's
it
work.
out.
Let's work on that. And matter of fact, let's get your mobile podcast going.
Yeah.
You know, if you need someone to ride shotgun, hey, I'm a good conversation piece.
There's no doubt about it. Let me tell you something. As I like to say, I'm a good time for a long time, and I'm only getting better with age. I am getting better with age. I'm getting better and better and better. And I'm finding that this wonderful $1 million handshake that I have comes with love and affection. And it's super good. I went and hit golf balls this past weekend. I met the guy next to me. I met the other guy next to me. And you know what? I just witnessed and respected. I mean, I just put some salt and pepper on the chicken. It always tastes better. And I sat back, Kevin, I had a cigar and I was in a bar in a chair. And I sat there and watched these guys hit golf balls and just talked to them. You thought it was the best thing since sliced bread because it was. We're having a moment, having a good time, and nobody had an agenda. We were just enjoying our company.
All right. Well, we're gonna work on feeding some of the homeless and bringing it to Philadelphia.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right.
Let me tell you something.
Let's come up with a
That'd be
plan.
awesome.
I'm game. I'm in. All in.
All right. Well,
All right.
I've enjoyed your music. I'm continuing to enjoy your music. I listen to the Spotify. this past Sunday morning while I'm sitting on my couch, and I listened to every fourth song was a Kevin McLemore song. Uh, Very good, flows right in. Like I said, you got to get your fanny to Nash Vegas, get down there, square somebody up. The lyrics, the quality of lyrics are incredible. I'm going to, from my perspective, when you throw a little Philadelphia on it, you throw a little blues in it, a little Teddy Pendergrass in it. It's incredible because I love that roller coaster you're on. Because you're
Right.
right, mom and dad listen to Barry White, they listen to Teddy Pendergrass, they listen to Marvin Gaye. That's seasoning. That is,
Right.
you take a song of a message and you put a little cayenne pepper on it and bring the
There you
heat.
go.
You warm it up a little bit, kind of dig into it. I mean, that's the stuff that you're doing is you're
Well,
able to take people on a wonderful ride and put a splash that just pulls out the heart. The black country soul, that's my favorite right now. That's my favorite. And
I
that is
think
Hotsy Totsy.
if I can get a an artist to record that, no
Yeah,
matter if it's someone established or someone that just got their first record deal, that's a Grammy winning song for somebody.
100%, 100%. I will say this, um, and we've talked about this earlier, but Kevin, I don't know what goes into your jet engines. I love it. Your jet engines are rare air. You're the Concorde. You just don't know it. You have no
But
idea. And 9 out of 10 people are going to say, oh, you can't, couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't. Back away. Let that
yeah,
Concorde on the runway and get up in the air, flip and go at speed of sound. Let's go. Because you have talent. And that's why I tell people all the time, don't judge the book by the cover. Make sure you get to chapter 14 or 15 because that's when it gets good. I mean, like I said,
yeah.
the initial few layers, now that I'm digging in, like, whoa, what the heck, man? This is off the chain. And again, I think I'm hotsy totsy. 3 o'clock in the morning. When do you sleep? You go all day long. You got three more shows. I'm burning Kevin McLemore time. I know it. But like I said, your currency is unbelievable. And the
Thank you.
current that you make with your currency strong. And I'll let that kind of sink in. That current that you're pushing is going to wear stones down. It is going to knock doors open. You are going to go through the atmosphere and you're going to be to the stars and back. It's going to happen. I'm witnessing and respecting that into realization because it's there. It will
Well,
happen, and there'll be somebody who's going to come in and say, you know what? I got all the talent in the world, but I can't hit my damn ass with both hands. Kevin
yeah,
comes along, says, I'm going to help you bring the vitamins, minerals, and stuff to get it out there.
yeah.
And whatever that may be,
Well,
that's what,
that's my goal, and we have the same legacy. Is that I am building
yes, sir.
musical real estate. There to be a foundation for Theo, Alex, Jillian, Keisha,
Yeah.
my grandbabies, Lyric, Jermaine, Soleil, for them to lay groundwork. So
Good.
that way their yellow brick road is full and they don't have to replace any bricks on the road. Grandpa's already laid it for them, dad has already laid it for them. So
Yep.
this is my financial real estate, the music. I have over 105 songs that I've worked on, and I've only released 1% into the world, and you saw it. As a matter of fact,
Oh,
when I wrote City Girl, Country Girl, um, Pretty Girl, believe it or not,
oh yeah, that's a good one too. This right here is the reign of the Jingle Queen. This is
all right,
I had her on my show, Deborah McDuffie. So that's Deborah McDuffie. In all her book here, she's done over Miller Lite.
call Deborah and
She
tell
can
her to
do
come on
chicken,
my
right?
show.
Kentucky Fried Chicken. She did all the jingles, but here's the
Yeah,
here's the QR codes of all her songs in her
yeah.
book. And on the back of her books, she worked with Luther Vandross, um, Daryl Tooks, the list go on. And
Yeah.
she just, I had a chance to interview her. I'll send you that interview.
Yeah. Send me her.
I'll send you her. I'll send you this. I'm anyway, but she's worked with Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, Lou Rawls, Joe. She did the Joe Frazier commercial for Miller Lite, and she lives right here in Jacksonville.
I would love to
And
talk to her.
yeah, I'm going to send you. I'll text you her contact card
Okay.
and tell her that you talked to Tom Reber at Client Focused Media, because I have a show around town with Tom. I do real estate champions. I just have fun with people. I have,
You're a great person.
probably 7 to 10 minute max.
All right.
And anyway, I've just go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, go. I was going to say, because I know you got another show to do. You're always welcome back.
Yeah.
I set the show up to be shorter, but it was so much that I had to give. I couldn't let it go. I couldn't let it go. You had a story, and I think everyone has a story to tell, and I think it's my responsibility to let the story be told. I want to thank you.
Well,
I am humbled.
me too. Me too. I'm
Thank
humbled
you.
as well, Kevin. You are amazing, and
Thank you.
I enjoy watching your start. So keep on rocking. If you need anything from me, ask. I'm working on things. You'll have a seat at the table. I'll be on the Healing Verse call on Thursday. Hope that you're there. If
Sure.
not, we'll keep on pushing, and I'll see you soon. Don't worry. Our
All
paths
right,
are
no
going to
problem.
cross, and I'm hoping that we
And
give you a
thank
good
you.
shoot
I,
Kevin
I will
Jackson.
tell you, I was a little nervous because you're a seasoned pro at this. And even though I've been doing this for 5 years, when I have someone as excellent as you, because I've listened to your shows, I'm going, how do I hold a candle to that light?
You are the candle. We light 1,000 other candles by us talking.
All right.
That's what we do. That's why I shared that quote with you. One candle lights 1,000 other candles and doesn't take away from each other's light.
There
Let
you
that
go.
sink in.
Thank you, sir. All right. I'll get this out to you in a week or two. Thank you,
Sounds
sir.
like a plan. I look forward to it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's the rhythm of life in a